Hello there and welcome back to Arctic Retro. In this video I'm gonna continue my streak of old Sinclair ZX machines, and on my bench here I have 4 ZX81 machines in various condition. I have hooked up one of them now. It is working, kind of. It has a picture, but the keyboard does not work, and the 3 others are in unknown conditions. So this is gonna be a little repairathon, I think. ZX81 repairathon. Okay, let's see what we got here. This one is working. Picture is pretty poor, but the keyboard is non-responsive and none of the keys are working. Well, I found one key that is working. There are. Anyway, need to take a look at that. The other 3, I haven't really tested them properly. I have connected them, but I couldn't get any picture. But let me check now. The ZX81 was the successor to the ZX80 machine that I showed you in the previous video, and yeah, still not a very fancy and usable machine. It only has 1 kilobyte of RAM, no audio and no colors, but yeah, a little bit more advanced than the ZX80. Before I continue, I just want to take the opportunity to thank my sponsor PCBWay. They are sponsoring this video. PCBWay produces very high quality PCBs for affordable prices. I have used them many times myself. In addition, they also provide services like CNC machining, 3D printing, sheet metal fabrication and injection molding. Right now they have a campaign where you can get up to 60% off from Flex and Rigid Flex PCBs. Just visit PCBWay.com and get an instant quote on that right now. Also check out their aluminium PCB offerings. So head over to PCBWay.com to check out their services. Now back to the video. Okay, so now this one is hooked up, and as you can see there is no picture. So then I mark that as dead. Now this one is a little bit special. It has what seems like an aftermarket keyboard. It's quite raised, higher than the original. I'm not really sure what kind of keyboard it is, but yeah, many of the keys seems to be stuck down there. Let's hook it up and see if we have anything on the screen. No, that one too is apparently dead. Mark it as dead then. No, even if there is no signal from the RF out, it might still be working. And it might be that this has had composite video mod, so I'm gonna test them with that afterwards. But let's go on to the 4th and final one here. Someone has tried to make a little adjustments to the logo there, but wasn't very nice. Okay, so here we have something. There is a picture, but it seems to be very poor. It shows widescreen right away when you power it up, but then it fades away, so that indicates some issue with the RF modulator, but at least it is working. It booted into basic, so that's boots, but poor picture. Okay, now I'm gonna check and see if by any chance these Non-working ones have been converted to composite video. I have hooked up that. Yeah, try this one first. Change to SCART. Nope. Still seems to be dead. And this one then. Nope, still this one too is dead. It has very loose power contact there, and well, might have something to do with that. It could always be something easy like poor contacts or anything like that. Alright, so here we have 4 different ZX81s in various conditions, and yeah, let's start by opening up and checking out the machines. This one, which is okay, fair picture, keyboard doesn't work. I'm gonna start with that because we need a working keyboard. Opening this machine is fairly straightforward. It has a couple of screws, but there is one screw hidden under one of the feet. However, I don't remember which, so need to just figure out that. Maybe there's a screw under all the feet. I'm not sure. Don't remember. Yeah, that's one. And that's really crusty glue on those rubber feet. Yeah, screw under all of those. The screws are different in length, so be aware of that when you assemble this machine again. So there you go. Well, look at that. Seems like this machine has taken a beating. 2 of the screw holes are broken off. That one goes there. This one goes over there, but the plastic part is not there anymore, I think. Well, I hear something is loose inside, so I think this one has been dropped. Yeah, there's plastic. Yeah, and there's one screw holding the motherboard to the upper part of the case. Okay, so there's one of the screw holders going there. Actually, there should be 2 of those, but only one is present. No, one is there. So that's been broken off too. That's the second screw holding the motherboard. Yeah, and then we have this keyboard membrane here. I'm gonna take that off. This seems to be a very poor quality or very thin. So maybe I can save this keyboard, but I already got a new one, a replacement. However, I only got 2 replacements and I have 4 machines, so we'll see what we'll do about that. Okay, before I continue, I'm gonna glue in these pieces, and yeah, they need some time to for the glue to dry, so we don't have to wait for that afterwards. For the plastic, I'm just gonna use regular super glue. And then I might strengthen it with using some epoxy afterwards. So I always manage to get the glue, super glue onto my fingers. Probably gonna do that this time too. Yes. Then we have the other side here, not really sure what goes where. I think that's the right one there. Alright, not only am I gonna try and repair the ones that doesn't work, but I'm also gonna clean up the ones that do work. And yeah, I cleaned up the contact for the keyboard, and yeah, these ones with some contact cleaner, just doing some regular cleaning of the PCB with some alcohol. So with the ZX81, Sinclair integrated a lot of the chips that was on the Z80 into one large ULA chip, this one. Yeah, only 4 or 5 chips on this board. On the ZX80 there's like, I don't know, 10-15 chips. Too bad that they used such cheap and crappy RF modulator modules like this one. Gives a really shitty picture, and yeah, it's actually hard to make these machines work on modern TVs that actually has a RF input, because the signal is so bad. Alright, so I'm gonna replace the only 2 electrolyte capacitors, those 2, and have that done. Otherwise everything looks alright. It's one that's actually axial and that's a radial, but yeah, I'm going to use both radial caps. It's a 50, it's a 1 microfarad 50 volts and a 22 microfarad 16 volts. Got both here, much smaller variants, but they should do. So I cleaned up the contacts and the membrane or the flat flex here for the keyboard. Let's see if that improved it. Looks like yeah, that thin metal on that plastic sheet is starting to wear off, so yeah, probably not gonna work anymore. So now suddenly the picture got worse. I don't know if that's just a coincidence, or maybe that's because I replaced those 2 caps. However, the keyboard is not working, so yeah, I need to replace the membrane. So I have to remove this keyboard, and it's just glued in there. So there's no screws or anything, so I'm going to use this metal spudger here, see if I can loosen it up. I think it's difficult to remove a keyboard like this without destroying it. I mean, I could try and use the heat gun and see if it loosens up, but I don't know if it's any point if this is damaged. Well, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna use the heat gun just to make it easier. This is really hard, stuck down there. Well, let's see now if we can loosen up this glue a little bit. Maybe it's better to go from the back side. Better be careful not to melt that plastic. So this is gonna take a while. I'll be back when it's loose. Yeah, it's starting to come loose. Yes! So the layer of double-sided tape just yeah, split from the keyboard, and yeah, hard to tell why this keyboard isn't working. I am thinking it's something to do with the end of this flat flex here, or it might be the actual pads here as well. But this one goes into the bin. Clean the surface, make it ready for the new keyboard. You know what? I'm gonna take the whole plastic down to my sink and clean it in some soapy water, both parts actually. It's kind of dusty and might be dirty as well, but since it's black you don't see it that easily. Alright, I cleaned up the parts and now they are clean as new. Just gonna wipe off the surface again, just to remove any fat or layer of soap or anything that's remaining there. And then I have this new keyboard. And like the old one, it has a double-sided tape on the back, so yeah. Hopefully this works. So I wonder who makes these keyboards. I mean, it's made in 2014, but still the machine is from the 80s. Is there a factory that manufactures these kinds of keyboards? I mean, there can't be many sold per year. The difficult part now is to align this correctly, make it look good. Yeah, I think that's okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, I assembled the machine and yeah, let's check the keyboard. Then print. Still has this issue with video signal, but not gonna do anything about that right now. I think I'm gonna do a composite mod for this. But the keyboard seems to be working fine. However, terrible to write with. Run. Yeah! Just cleaning up for the rubber feet. Use a little contact glue on these. Just a final touch, I'm gonna paint these letters, which are supposed to be red. I have this acrylic paint here. Yeah, it's not the most durable, but it should be enough for this purpose. See if I can manage to spread it out evenly there. Probably not the exact same color, but this is kind of a vibrant red, so I think this will work. Nah, that looks okay, doesn't it? From a distance, you can't see the difference from the original, I think. Alright, that was the first of 4 machines. Let me continue with the second one. Next up is this, and yeah, this one works. It booted, but had a very poor picture. But it doesn't look very nice. It looks a little bit scratchy. It has some white lacquer over the logo there. And on the back side, yeah, one of the rubber feet fell off. One is there. And there's some glue residues here. I don't know what was tried here, but that's some really hard glue. I need to figure a way to remove that. Okay, let's just open this up and see how it is inside and see if we can do anything with the poor picture. And the screws are underneath this glue here. I don't know if this is the original. It seems like very hard to get rid of. At least there are screws. One screw over there is missing. Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay, the inside it's very dirty, full of dust and hairs. It's the same issue as the other one. It's 1A. And everything looks to be in good order here. I'm gonna clean it up like the other one, remove all the dust and dirt, and I'm gonna take yeah, this bottom cover here down and soak it in some water, see if that glue loosens up. Of course, a little contact cleaner here and there. So on this board we can see some chips from 1981, and Yeah, some are from 82. I hooked up the board, and as you can see, the picture is very poor. This is RF signal, and yeah, there is some adjustment coil there, but it seems to be stuck. I can turn it a little bit, and yeah, that changes the picture a bit, but for the most part it goes to the worse. Just for the sake of it, I'm gonna replace those two caps on this one too. So to see if I can get a better picture of this machine, I'm gonna do the composite mod that I did for the ZX80, and that's a rather simple mod. It's not perfect, but it works in most cases, and it's just a transistor and a resistor, and then you disconnect this RF modulator completely and take the composite video signal that comes from the ULA chip, amplify it a little bit, and then it goes straight out to the TV on the video input instead of the RF input. I tried to remove that nasty glue. I tried with WD-40 dissolving it, and yeah, soap and water, but it's really hard, and yeah, tried scraping it off, but that just made scratches to the plastic. So yeah, it's kind of alright now, and just leave it with that. Maybe I'll try with some paint thinner or something like that sometime later. For the top part, remove that paint on the logo. I'm just gonna patch the ZX81 letters with that acrylic color. It became very nice on the first machine, and the color matches almost exactly. I found that the toothpick was better suited for this kind of work. Next, I'm gonna see if I can get a decent picture out of this. I am gonna make a little simple composite modification that involves cutting the wire for the video signal from that comes from the ULA chip into the RF modulator, and then a little resistor and a transistor that amplifies that signal. So just soldering up this little mod circuit quickly. You can see the details on how this works and how it's made in my video about the ZX80. On this machine I simply just cut the wires for the 5 volts and the video signal, and just gonna solder it in outside of the modulator box, and then I'm gonna feed in the signal from the transistor into the contact here through that extra access point there. The circuit is complete. Looks a little bit ugly, but this should work. Hopefully. And it's also reversible, so if I want to revert back to the original RF box, then it should be quite easy. Okay, let's see now. Did this work? Yeah, we have something, but just flashing. So again, it's probably my TV that doesn't like that particular signal. Yeah. Yeah, that is not very good. That's not usable at all. So I changed the resistor values a little bit, and yeah, now it actually gives a stable picture for now. No, it's simply hard to get a stable picture. So I think for these machines to work properly on modern TVs, they need a better composite mod. Also, I think the keyboard contact got a little bit mangled. I think some of the keys don't work anymore. I have a spare keyboard, but I only have one, so I'm gonna see about the next two machines, which I'm gonna use that on. Alright, over to ZX81 number 3, and this says dead, so let's take a look. It actually doesn't look very bad. It looks quite alright. It's missing two of its rubber feet. Not a lot of scratches. Keyboard looks alright. So let's open this up now and see what we can find. So it had no video output, not on RF and not on composite video. Alright, that doesn't look too bad. Quite clean and dust free inside. So when this is like completely dead, it can be anything. I mean, it can be a faulty chip, it can be a faulty voltage regulator. Of course, it can be all kinds of things that is required for making the picture. So yeah, gonna check a little bit the voltages first of all. First of all, I'm gonna hook it up and check if we have the correct voltage. The voltage regulator doesn't seem to get warm, so yeah, we in fact have 4.8 volts. 10 volts input. It's a little bit too low for a 5 volt regulator, so I'm thinking about just replacing that. So now it's starting to get a little bit warm. However, this concerns me more that ULA chip is already very hot. I'm just gonna take a ULA chip from one of the other machines and put into this one, see if we get the picture. Let me just quickly pull out the ULA. And here's a ULA chip from one of the other machines, the number 2 machine, which was working. So I swapped the ULAs and yeah, still just black on this machine. However, the ULA, which I swapped over to the working machine, does work. I got the picture on that. It gets quite hot, so I guess that's normal then. Alright, so it was not the ULA, it could be of course the ROM or the CPU or something else, but I'm gonna check now with the oscilloscope, see what we can get on the video signal output here. So that's the signal we get from the faulty machine. Looks kind of strange, I don't know. That's the video signal from the ULA chip. Now I'm gonna compare it with the working machine and see if it's any different. Oh yes, that's completely different. That's yeah, you see it drops down to 0. That's something else. Change the time base there. Let's see again on the faulty machine. Yeah, you see it's like it's like it's between 2 and 4 volts, but on the working machine it was between 0 and 4 volts. Strange. Okay, then I'm gonna check a little bit on the CPU, see if it's actually running and that it has normal signals on the data lines and the address lines. Alright, let's check the CPU clock. That's pin 6. Okay, that looks kind of normal. I mean, it's a little bit low. It's between -1 and 4 volts. Seems a little bit strange. Let's check some of the data pins then. Seems a little bit strange. Very rounded signal. I'm gonna compare it with the working machine. Take a look at that. So now we're at the working machine. Let's see the clock. Yeah, it's the same. Data lines. Yeah, it's the same. So I mean, I think the CPU is working just fine. At least according to this simple check. Gonna check all the lines, the address and data lines now to see if there is something wrong. Okay, so I checked all the address and data lines on the ROM and the CPU and the RAM, and it all looks alright. There's normal signal on all address and data lines and all the control lines. So yeah, it must be something else then. On the ULA, the pin 16 is responsible for the video output, and that's a combined pin with the cassette tape. So that's why the video turns off when the tape is in use. So let's check out pin 16 here. So that's the activity on pin 16, and it looks like the same that we had on the video input to the modulator. It's just flickering between 2 and 4 volts. Let's check the working machine. Compare. Yeah, and that's totally different. There we see what looks like more normal. So this is the other ULA chip, and I confirmed that the one that was in in the other machine as well works, because I swapped them. So what is making the signal behave differently on this machine? If I take a look at the schematics, we actually can see here that the signal goes directly from pin 16 on the ULA over to the modulator, and nothing else happens. So can it be something here with I mean, the signal also goes down here to the mic output, which is for the cassette. So that's the tape output. But yeah, here's a couple of capacitors, there's a couple of resistors, there's a Zener diode there. But it might be the actual TV modulator that's bad, so I'm thinking about just cutting the line for the TV modulator and see if that makes any difference, and I can make that composite mod then. And I actually found an article here for a composite mod for the ZX81, and it says here that if you have problems with the signal on the LCD panels, you should add a simple 4148 diode on the output, and that should fix it. So I'm gonna try that as well. Just gonna cut now the wires for the modulator, and yeah, both the 5 volts and the video signal. So let's check now with the oscilloscope, see if there's any difference. Checking pin 16 again. Yes, look at that. No, it's no, it looks like the working machine. The signal goes between 4 and 0 volts. Okay, so I think that this RF modulator here is completely gone, and yeah, I'm gonna make that little composite video mod for this machine as well, but now with a diode on the output, see if that makes it any better. Okay, this is the same mod, a little 3904 transistor, 2 resistors, and gonna solder this into the video circuit here, and then I have this diode I'm gonna attach to the end of one of the resistors. It's not exactly the same type, but I'm guessing this is gonna work. Using a little blue tack is very handy when you want to have something hold still like this while soldering, and you only have 2 hands, but you actually need 3. So yeah, so hopefully you can see what's going on. It's a little bit hard to film this, and yeah, the camera is in the way when I try to solder. Now this did not become very tidy, so I'm thinking about redoing it after I tested that it works, but yeah, this is proof of concept first of all. Okay, so that's the original mod without the extra diode. Let's first test and see if it works like before. And yes, it does. Look at that K. So yeah, machine works. RF modulator was bad. Now let's try with that diode, see if we get a better picture. And this diode is supposed to go on the output signal, so I'm just soldering into the contact right there. And then the resistor goes to the diode. It's kind of fiddly to solder this in, and yeah, it's just temporary for now. So let's check that out. Does it improve the video signal? Well, not exactly. I couldn't find the actual diode that was mentioned in the article, but I took another value instead. So I'm gonna check again, see if I can find the correct diode. It's supposed to be a 4148. Alright, so I tried with another type of diode. The problem, I couldn't see the marking on it because it's so small, but yeah, this is the most stable I have seen on this machine, or these machines. There's a little bit of movement in that K. I'm not really sure if that is my TV or if it is like that in the machine, but yeah, that looks pretty good, in fact. So I'm gonna leave that with that, and I'm gonna clean up now the machine. Yeah, and then jump to the fourth and last machine. So I try to assemble the machine now after cleaning everything. Problem is with the keyboard. It is so brittle, and yeah, it's already worn out, so it's near impossible to get in, and I can see it's already broken. So yeah, simply have to cut it off a bit and see if we can get it in. Of course, now the other part is a little bit too long compared to the wider end here, but should be easier to get in now. Yeah, it's in, but I'm not at all sure if this keyboard is now working. We'll see. This machine also needs a little touch-up on the letters. Yeah, that's better. Alright, machine number 3 is finished, and yeah, fairly okay. Keyboard works, but picture is not very stable, so just leave it with that. And then next is this one, the fourth and last one, and it says dead on the note. Alrighty, last machine on the bench. What can we say about this one? Well, it looks alright. It has this custom made keyboard. I don't know, I googled a little bit. I actually found pictures of ZX81s with this keyboard, but I didn't find any information about who made it and yeah, where it came from. We know it doesn't work, or at least it doesn't produce a picture. Other things I noticed is that yeah, at least the power contact is very loose, so I think I'm gonna replace that. I have extra contacts, so I might replace all 3. Yeah, just gonna open it up and see what we have. This is not the original rubber feet. These are some kind of hard feet glued in there. Yeah, and this is impossible to get off. It won't budge, and there's a screw under it, so it needs to come off. Oh, yes. There's some kind of Velcro glued on here. Probably to hold a memory expansion in place. Some nasty glue there as well. There you go. Alright, it doesn't look too bad. A little bit of dust inside as usual. I'm gonna remove the motherboard so that we can take a look at it in detail. Yeah, and that aftermarket keyboard has the same flimsy flat flex cable. Probably gonna break. So I really think this keyboard needs to come off, because feels like many of the keys are stuck, but yeah, I'm not really sure. Need to get this machine up and running before I figure out that. So what do we have here? Well, it's revision 1A, this one too. Chips are marked with 81, copyright 1981. Is there any life in it? Let's check out. Oh, that's very loose. Yeah, and this is in fact dead. I don't have any voltage here on even on the contact. If I push hard, then I get 10 volts. So maybe that's the reason, the bad contact. Gonna push the contact there and yeah, make it a little firmer. Definitely now we have 10 volts input, and we should have 10 volt on the regulator, and we have that now. And we have 5 volts. Yeah, so yeah, bad contact. It's the reason for this one failing. Gonna replace that right away. So I got these new ones here, same kind, should fit. Gonna replace all three while I'm at it. Also gonna replace the 2 electrolyte capacitors. Yeah, the new ones, they feel firm and very nice. These ZX81 boards, they have a room for one more chip. It's called IC4B. That's IC4, so I guess it has something to do with the memory. Maybe it's a memory expansion or something, I don't know. If you know, then please let me know in the comments. I start by replacing the caps. Then I'm gonna desolder the contacts. They are a little big, so yeah, I'm gonna struggle a little bit to remove all the solder. Yeah, that's out. And this contact is a little special. It has both a capacitor and a resistor over that, so yeah. Okay, that's quite some arrangement. Just pushing a capacitor and a resistor down through the same holes as the contact. So I'm gonna clean up this mess and then I'll solder in the new contacts. There's a lot of old flux and solder there. Ooh, that smells real bad. Then in with the new contacts, and yeah, it's the same type, so they fit very nicely. Just need to get that capacitor also down there. That's some fairly big holes to fill with solder, but yeah, works alright. Okay, let's see now if we have any picture. This one doesn't have any composite modifications, so we're gonna use RF. Yeah, look at that. This one too, it produces a fairly light picture, but then it fades down to black, so almost not visible. So I'm really clueless onto what is causing these issues with the RF modulator. Anyway, I'm not gonna do the composite modification on this one. I wanna keep this machine original and just wanna test the keyboard now, see if that works. Yeah, it's already broken. I think it was broken from before. there was already a fold there from before, and now I tried to push it, it just broke, and that's broken too, so yeah. Alright, let's see now, does it work? Nope, nothing. Well, there could be several reasons why this isn't working. Maybe that flat flex is broken in some more places, and yeah, I see some of the keys are in a way stuck down, so that might also contribute to the issue. I'm not gonna open this keyboard and try to fix it, because I think that's near impossible without the proper parts for it. So yeah, I think I'd rather keep this machine for later and then fix it properly with a new keyboard, and then I leave it with that. Yeah, even though I got the cable into the contact, I can see here it's broken several places down here, down the middle, and I cannot cut it that short, because then I think I'm not gonna get it in. So I'm just gonna try and clean up this last machine a little bit more, and then I think we're done. When it comes to power supplies for these machines, I don't have any. I only have this one for my own ZX81, and yeah, but that's not a big deal. I mean, if you want to make a power supply for a ZX80 or ZX81, all you need is a 3.5mm plug like this, and this is a mono. You find these in all regular electronics shops online. And then you just buy a regular 9V DC cheap kind of power supply. You get them everywhere for like 10 to 20 euros. Also, if you need to make the cassette cable, you just need 2 of those, and yeah, connect them together, and then you can plug it to any device that produces audio for the ZX81. That can be a mobile phone or a computer, or a dedicated device used for that. Alright, that was it for this video. I fixed up 4 ZX81s. Well, not completely. They still have issues with video output, at least on my TV. I guess on a regular old CRT TV or monitor it might be better. Still, I want to make these machines work properly on modern devices, so I need a better composite video mod for these machines. So if you have any suggestions for a better composite video mod, then write it down in the comments below. Anyway, I just want to say thanks for watching, and special thanks to my patrons, and please hit that like and subscribe button if you want. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.